although I do not oppose the amendment, I ask unanimous consent to claim the time in opposition.
Without objection.
There are no earmarks in this bill. There are no earmarks in the stimulus provisions that our committee authored, that were part of the Recovery Act covering State Revolving Loan Fund, because we specifically opposed using any individual designation for projects within the stimulus. The money appropriated for the State Revolving Loan Fund from 1987 on, actually it started in 1981, but there were no earmarks at that time. But we made it very clear in 1987 in our committee that these funds would go out by a statutory formula in Section 205C of the Federal Water Pollution Control Act. The state of Arizona, for example, receives its statutorily defined share of 0.6831%. It's not an earmark. It's a statutorily determined amount that goes to the gentleman's state of Arizona, where the decisions are made by the counterpart agency, the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority, counterpart to our Minnesota Water Infrastructure Financing Authority. And every state has a similar such authority. I would further say, Mr. Chairman, to the gentleman that at no time in the history of the 22-year length of this program has there been any earmarking for any project. But I said, the gentleman wishes to offer this amendment. We're happy to accept it, to make a further statement that we have confidence over the years of operation of this program, that states rank their projects, that state agencies rank their projects, as in the state of Minnesota, 1 through 261 on a merit basis. They have a point system. Other states have something similar. There's no reason for members of Congress to say that the executive branch isn't doing its job properly in allocating the funds authorized for their respective states. It's only where states aren't attending to the needs of members that they come to the Appropriations Committee or to our committee and say, oh, well, look, we're not being well served. Could you designate something in our... We don't do that in aviation. We don't do that in the Clean Water Program. We don't do that in other programs. And so I think the gentleman's amendment is quite appropriate here. Just very briefly, and I respect the gentleman from Arizona has taken a very principled stand on this issue of earmarks, but it's just as a matter of historical note. There was a time when the Congress, the House and the Senate together worried about and raised questions about inappropriate spending by the executive branch. And it was a senator from Wisconsin, Mr. Proxmire, who every Sunday night would issue his Golden Fleece Award to a government executive branch agency that was inappropriately using taxpayer dollars. And over time that somehow shifted to take aim at the House or at the Senate and shoot ourselves in the foot. This is not the point for a broader discussion of the matter of constituent-inspired initiatives in federal legislation, but there will be another time, and I welcome the opportunity to discuss with the gentleman from Arizona the upcoming surface transportation bill and how these matters are managed in that context. I yield back the balance of my time and ask support of the amendment. Authorizes the use of Clean Water Act Section 122 grant funds for municipality-wide stormwater management planning. Very important initiative. We've discussed it many times in years past. If the gentleman had raised it in the course of our consideration of this legislation, we would have included it in the base bill. But our bill moved along much faster than most members anticipated. So he has presented it to Rules Committee. He's made an order. We support the amendment on both sides of the aisle. I yield to the gentleman from Arkansas.
Thank you, Mr. Oberstar. Mr. Chairman, we have no problems with the amendment.
So developing effective response to stormwater is the purpose of this amendment. It incorporates green infrastructure technologies and approaches into developing municipality stormwater systems, and I urge support of the amendment.